Hello and welcome to this interview with the UK Foreign Minister, Yvette Cooper. Thank you for this chance and welcome to Riyadh.
It's lovely to be here.
So, since we are in Saudi Arabia, tell us more about the UK-Saudi relationship, especially when it comes to trade.
Well, this is a hugely important relationship for us. It's a hugely important friendship, a long historic friendship. We already have very strong trading links on issues ranging from energy, security, a whole range of different areas, but we want to strengthen and broaden those trading links. And I've been today in the Riyadh Stock Exchange talking about financial services cooperation, the many different areas that we can strengthen that relationship. Because I know I've known for many years about the work being done here around Vision 2030, and that's why I was keen to see all of the work that's been done and how we can strengthen that trading relationship, that economic relationship, but also that political and diplomatic partnership as well.
And what does the UK specifically want from Saudi Arabia when it comes to trade?
Well, we want to strengthen our trading links. It could be a whole series of areas where we think around life sciences, around technology, around different investment opportunities in both of our countries. We already have 1,900 British companies operating here in Saudi Arabia, and we want to strengthen those links because we think that is good for growth in the UK. It's also good for growth here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but it's good for that trading partnership that we build those links that are so important already.
Let's talk about politics, because also this is one of the very important topic for our viewers and for Saudi Arabia. Sir Keir Starmer said that the UK can use its experience with the Northern Ireland solution and expertise and help in disarming Hamas. What did the US or the Israelis or the Palestinians say regarding this?
Well, as we know, I think we're all of us hugely relieved that the ceasefire is in place. It's fragile, but it is in place as a result of the US-led peace initiative. But there's been a huge amount of work to get to this point, and we know there's a huge amount of work still that needs to be done in order to deliver a just and lasting peace. And that means, for us, that means we have recognised the state of Palestine, because we believe that we need to ultimately have a two-state solution with Israel and Palestine living alongside each other. That's the only way that we will get that peace and security for everyone. But of course, there's crucial issues that need to be dealt with along the way. Part of President Trump's 20-point plan is around the decommissioning of weapons of Hamas as part of that peace process. The UK does have experience of the decommissioning process around Northern Ireland, and that's why we have put forward proposals as part of those negotiations and as part of that peace process. What we've also offered to do is to support things like demining, because we know that there are unexploded ordnances across Gaza. We need to be able to deal with those in order to make it safe to get the humanitarian aid in that is desperately, desperately needed.
If we talk about the Northern Ireland model, which has been discussed all over, right? The model also dictates that Hamas will have a role in Gaza. Is this something that the UK will accept, at least political role?
Well, we've been clear, and it's part of the 20-point plan, but we also made it very clear in all of the statements that we've made that Hamas can have no role in the governance of Gaza or the governance of Palestine. We have always made that extremely clear as part of our support for this peace process, and we believe that is essential to making sure that we can get the just and lasting peace. But we've set out different proposals about how we get that decommissioning, because Hamas has agreed, as part of them signing up to this ceasefire and to President Trump's 20-point plan, that they will demilitarize, but now we need to make sure that there is an effective process to do that.
So the UK and the West is okay with a Hamas, a political Hamas?
No, well, they need
political party.
Well, no, we've been clear that they cannot be part of the governance of Gaza or the governance of Palestine.
There are many plans, the Trump plan, the Tony Blair plan, and many initiatives, the Saudi French plan. Which is the UK's preference, and Is the Tony Blair part of the UK government approach also?
Well, a lot of people put forward proposals during the summer of different ways. We put forward proposals as how we have a framework for peace, because all of us know that the ceasefire is only the first step. There are so many further things that need to happen in order for it to be a just and lasting peace. So different people have put forward different proposals and different measures, but all of those, I think, have now fed into the 20-point plan that President Trump set out, and that is what all parties signed up to and signed up to support. So that is what we now have to take forward. Of course, there will be lots of detailed work to do along the way, but it is that US-led peace initiative that I think we are supporting and that I think many people are supporting to deliver now.
So a lot of instability in the region. Let's move to Lebanon. Hezbollah has not disarmed yet, and Israel is threatening to launch a major military offensive up to Beirut, like it's been in the news recently. Is it realistic to ask the Lebanese army, knowing its capabilities, to disarm Hezbollah?
Well, I think nobody wants to see a return to conflict. That would be deeply damaging, and it's really important that everyone works to prevent that taking place. It's also important, of course, we want to see the disarmament of Hezbollah as been a deeply destructive force in the region, but is why we support the continual work to have not just the work that the UN has led in the area, but also the work for the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army as the recognised forces to be able to continue to work to ensure that we get that peace, that stability, and of course we do need to see the disarmament of Hezbollah.
The UK is involved in the border between Lebanon and Syria. Have you had any role, or are you suggesting any role for the UK to also organise the border between Lebanon and Israel?
Well, we think that this needs to be UN-led processes, and in fact, one of the UK ministers is in the region over the next few days as well. So it's really important that we continue to all work together, but we're clear that this is about UN processes.
How are you supporting the Lebanese army?
So we support the UN-led work in order to be able to ensure that everything possible can be done to stabilise, to have greater stability and security for Lebanon, but also for the region more widely.
Let's talk about Iran. Does the UK still think that Iranian regime and the Revolutionary Guard still pose a threat on individuals inside the UK?
Well, I'm afraid we have seen direct threats, Iran-backed threats on UK soil, and that is a deep concern to us and for our national security, and that is why we will always stand firm on national security issues and against any kind of threat from the Iranian regime. As you'll know, we've also been very clear and firm around our concerns around the nuclear programme, the Iranian nuclear programme, and that's why we have also restored and strengthened the sanctions around the nuclear programme as well.
President Trump said 2 weeks ago that the US is ready for a deal as soon as Tehran is. So is a deal with the West imminent?
Well, I think this was on the issue around the nuclear programme. We had hoped, we had continually urged Iran to comply with the nuclear non-proliferation treaty requirements to ensure that they were taking seriously their responsibilities to ensure that they could comply with the inspections, the nuclear programme inspectors, and to be able to do so. And we had called on them many times to do so. In the event, they simply did not respond, but we continue to say we want to see a diplomatic process to restore confidence and cooperation around that nuclear programme and preventing the nuclear programme. So we continue to want that diplomatic process, but because we just did not see that progress taking place, we did not see that compliance, that is why we ended up triggering what they call the snapback process and ensuring that sanctions could be strengthened, could be restored in order to maintain the pressure to comply with the requirements.
But the Iranian regime is, if anything known about it, that it's patient. Is there a deadline for this?
Well, we will continue to put pressure on, and we'll continue to urge
And what are the
Iran
options
to
on the
comply.
table? Another military strike?
No, we don't want to see conflict. We don't want to see the conflict return or escalate in any way. What we do, however, want to continue with is a diplomatic pressure on Iran to comply with their basic requirements on nuclear non-proliferation.
Mm-hmm. We see the UK more involved, especially under this government in the Middle East. You're back on the global scene, especially in the Middle East. What has changed, and where are the areas of interest for the UK?
So we do very much feel that for us in the UK, the partnerships we build across the world, across different regions, are what make us stronger back at home. And whether that is our trading partnerships, we know that the trade, the investment partnerships that we have here in Saudi Arabia, but also across the region, we know that those trading relationships are what make our economy stronger. But we also know that the security partnerships, the diplomatic partnerships, that how that also makes us stronger at home. We know that issues, whether it be around Iran, whether it be around issues around Gaza, instability in different parts of the world can have consequences for all of us, and we are all stronger if we maintain those diplomatic partnerships and those trading relationships, those diplomatic relationships and those security relationships. That's why it's so important for me to be here in Riyadh, but it's also why we do see issues around foreign policy, around diplomacy, around those crucial relationships. We want to support peace, we want to prevent conflict in other parts of the world, but we also want that stability and security, because that also helps us back home.
Last question before we wrap. It's headlines, and I cannot avoid this question. Sudan, specifically Al-Fashir. What's the UK stand on this? It's atrocious.
It's really incredibly disturbing what we've seen happening in Al-Fashir. We've seen executions take place in a maternity hospital. We've seen the real reports of the most horrendous atrocities. 130,000 children still at risk as a result of those RSF advances. We are calling for an urgent ceasefire. We are calling for an immediate humanitarian truce so we can support people. It's essential that happens. I'm also particularly troubled by some of the reports that we have seen about sexual violence being used as a weapon of war. These are kinds of atrocities.
Are you involved in the talks for ceasefire as the UK?
So we are supporting, we know that there have been, we support the discussions that have been taking place as part of the Quad involving Saudi Arabia, but also involving the US, the UAE, the Emiratis, and also Egypt as well. That Quad discussions are hugely important, and we'll support that process, but we're also having discussions internationally as well about how we support the process because we do desperately need that ceasefire in place.
I have so many questions about the Middle East, but I know your time is limited. Thank you so much for finding the time for this talk, and good luck.
Lovely to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.